passer rating when targeted on this team. You're going to see the separation here, right? Can he win in the intermediate? And then he creates yards after catch because he's dynamic with the football in his hands. He's tough. He's a young player. But before the season, Mina reached out, and she was talking about Luther Burden and saying, I think this guy is going to take over some of these mainstays early. I think it's time for him to get his opportunity because it pluses up that receiving game.
I just think this offense should be such a play-action heavy offense because even their drop-back game, I think the drop-back game, that's when my notes are like, meh, it's not on time or it's not in rhythm. The guy doesn't have a ton of separation. I think in totality, like, the more that Ben Johnson leans into this play-action game, I think it helps those receivers. I think it's better for Rome Odunze because Rome's got those long strides. I don't think he's a win-now guy. The better this offense is going to play, the more that it's more of a reaction offense rather than a thinking offense.
Yeah. That's interesting, and it makes sense, too, because Caleb's been so good on the first drives that have been scripted, too. Like, he doesn't have to think a whole lot. I realize you're saying
I think it just promotes his, athleticism more. I feel like he plays more reactionary in the play-action world.
Okay, Chicago's seeking to win 7 of its first 10 games of a season for the first time since 2018. It's been a long time since that's happened. Still ahead, Detroit's offense looked really good with Broncos defense. Dan Campbell ahead of the Lions matchup with the Eagles this week. And, of course, he's taken over play-calling duties. We'll talk about that. Josh Allen on heading to face the Bucs after the Bills lost to the Dolphins. So much more is coming your way, and we are all here. Hawk, Dan, Field, what's up, everybody? What up? Also, Adam is here, so we're going to start there because he's got some news to get to, and he's with us all show long. Adam, let's start with the top stories, including another change for the Giants. What's going on there? Actually, start with Lamar Jackson.
Well, Laura, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson.
Sorry.
Today. Yeah, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson, who did not practice today due to knee soreness. Now, the Ravens say it was more precautionary than anything else. They expected he'll be back tomorrow at practice, but it feels like we're always on Lamar watch. And obviously, the Ravens have another big game. They've begun to make up ground on the Steelers, and now we'll see if he can, in fact, make it back for practice tomorrow despite that knee soreness. Meanwhile, C.J. Stroud did not practice today. He still remains out and is in concussion protocol. Right now, it looks like it's tracking for Davis Mills to start again Sunday against the Tennessee Titans with Stroud still in protocol. And keep in mind, the Texans are on a short week after this week. We'll see if he can make it back then. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback, is expected to be limited at practice today, but Kyle Shanahan just said that he's going to be aggressive with Purdy today to see how much he can handle, to see if they can get him ready for Sunday's game against the Arizona Cardinals. So there's a chance on Purdy. We'll see how today's practice goes. If not, another start for Mac Jones. And the news this morning is that the New York Giants are shifting to Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. Jackson Dart is in concussion protocol. With Dart in protocol, Mike Kafka, the interim head coach, has made the decision to tab Winston over Russell Wilson, who started the season earlier on for the Giants. And now Jameis Winston gets to go up against the Green Bay Packers. And Jameis Winston's got to scare any defense because you never know what you're going to get with him. Long balls, interceptions, excitement, fun. Great to watch Jameis. We'll have a chance to do it on Sunday.
I mean, listen, we don't root for teams, but I do root for a post-game press conference after Jameis Winston is won a game.
So 50.
Okay, tell him, Dan. Well, that's a prediction. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. Thanks to Adam. He's with us all show long again with more news coming your way. But how about this matchup? The Chiefs heading to Denver this week in an unusual position, right? Third place in the AFC West while the Broncos sit atop the division. Very important game for this team if they want to win the division and even make the playoffs. Crazy to think about. New on NFL Live, though, here's Patrick Mahomes today.
I mean, they're first in the division, and they have a couple games on us. And so it's huge for the division, and that's always our first goal is win the division. And so it's a really good football team. There's no way around it. And so we have to go out there and play our best football, and I don't think we've done that yet. So after this bye, let's go out there, put a great week of practice together, and find a way to win in a hostile environment against a great football team.
Patrick Mahomes is familiar, too, with just how difficult it is to play there, specifically for the Chiefs. Field, how will the familiarity between this Broncos defense and Patrick Mahomes potentially show up in this one?
You might see his career stats against the Broncos and see 13 wins in 14 games for the Chiefs and think to yourself, this one is going to be in their hands easily on Sunday. But Mahomes has only accounted for 20 passing touchdowns in those 14 games. This Denver defense, new season, new year, but they have been good on defense for the past couple of seasons. And I think this is the best version we have seen of this Broncos defense during this Sean Payton and Vance Joseph era. I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs on Sunday is to be situationally incredible. The Broncos are as good as it gets defensively in the red zone. They have the personnel to do whatever they want on a given play. They want to play man, they want to play zone, they want to rush for four, they want to blitz, you name it, they can do it. They have the dudes at all three levels. The Broncos have allowed the third fewest trips to the red zone per game this season. You don't get there often. And no team has held opponents to either field goals, turnovers, or turnovers on down on a higher percentage of those red zone trips than the Broncos. They tighten the screws when you do get there, which is not all that often in the first place.
It's a bad matchup for the Chiefs offense. And I know that's the dumb thing to say because it's Patrick and this Chiefs offense. Yeah. But no quarterback has made more above the X's and O's big plays this year than Patrick. I think that's one of the things that stands out is like different this year in comparison to last year with this offense. Holding the ball for a long period of time and creating big plays. The problem is that's not what you want to do against this defense. You know, you can look at it there. If the longer Patrick's held the ball, the more explosive pass plays he's created. But you don't want to live that way against this defense. This pass rush leads the NFL in sacks. And so
by a lot.
This thing that this offense and Patrick has done so great this year is the one thing you don't want to do against this defense. I just don't think you can go into this game thinking, live into that world, and then Hawk, you could attest to this past week with no Surtain. What they did was they double-teamed the number one receiver, and then they played zone opposite. I could see them doubling Rasheed, playing zone opposite, and really challenging everybody else but that new receiver.
I can see that as well. I think when I look at the Chiefs' offense, and you know, when you saw them against the Buffalo Bills, they were a little disjointed. You know, O-line was kind of patched together. That should be back and improved against the Broncos, which you're going to need because, as you guys pointed out, they're great rushing the quarterback. They're great against the run. And they're great on the back end. But I do believe the Chiefs have enough firepower on the outsides that if they decide to double a Rashee Rice, they have enough weapons to be dynamic down the field. If they can protect Patrick. I would also say in the running game, like they were in on the Breece Hall, sweepstakes at the trade deadline, couldn't get it done. But I think Kareem Hunt is playing better than you expected at his age. And if they can get just a little bit above expected, they have the horses on the outside to get down the field. Worthy is a guy that can do it. We've seen Thornton do it at times. Juju, Kelsey. If they are devoting extra defenders towards Rice, I think that they have enough, again, firepower to be effective.
Anytime you're playing Denver for the remainder of this season, who are your tight ends and who are your backs? And are those real pass-catching threats? It's by far the best way to go about it. So it has to be a big Kelsey game. It has to be a big Brashard Smith game when it comes to pass catching because I just don't think you're hold the football, try to push it down the field against this front with that coverage.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Probably not the week to do it, but you mentioned Xavier Worthy. Are you guys surprised that we haven't seen him basically at all this season stretch the field vertically? I mean, he's the fastest player in combine history, and he's like zero in terms of massive plays down the field, like 50-plus yard receptions.
Andy Reid talked about this week that, teams are taking him away. Because he doesn't have the statistics to back up, his effect on the game, he has been effective to a point. I think he played the most snaps of any receiver against the Buffalo Bills. And so you're having to account for him. And in a world where you decide to take away Rashee Rice, to your point, that could be the moment where Xavier Worthy kind of steps up big.
You mentioned the O-line. Another thing to point out is Josh Simmons has been back at practice. Now, there's no guarantee that he would be back in a starting role, but maybe a little bit more depth there. All right, let's get to some sad news. New on NFL Live, Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer speaking today for the first time since Marshawn Nealon's death.
We had an opportunity last night to celebrate Marshawn's life, tell some stories, share, laugh, cry. Marshawn loved the words "one love," so we talked a lot about love as we grieve. And I just got a chance to really share a couple of things that I'll miss the most about Marshawn. Those top couple things was he had the most playful spirit of any young man I've been around. His smile could take you to your knees. And in terms of him as an athlete, no one had a better motor than him. My heart is heavy. Our team's heart is heavy. We don't move on, but we do move forward. And that's the beauty of a team, right? Like when one side of the ball is playing good, the other side of the ball has to pick them up. When one guy's hurting, someone else has to pick him up. If the head coach is hurting, someone's got to pick me up. And I won't. Now I'm hurting. And these guys have picked me up, and I've picked them up. And that's what we're going to continue to do because we love one another. And it's what a family does.
Schottenheimer talking about the words that they shared together. They held a private candlelight vigil as a team last night. Dan, this is not nearly as important as the life that was lost, obviously, but Schottenheimer's a coach trying to keep a team together after a tragedy like this. How does he do that?
I think that goes a long way. I mean, that was a trademark moment, that 90 seconds. I think the thing that stands out is, like, he obviously knew the young man. This wasn't just a player. He knew him. Just like if I was in that locker room, I would really want my coach to not ignore that it happened. Like I don't want my coach to pretend that what we were going through, it didn't happen. I wouldn't want my coach to give me a lot of idle time. I don't want to be in my locker room a lot, because every time I'm in that locker room, we're all going to see Marshawn's locker. So like I don't want to be in that locker room that much. I don't want a lot of idle time. And so I think that's important. But I think his words were, we have to move forward and not on. I think that's a really big deal, is acknowledging where they are and that they're not going to forget. But his words of the team and football and the beauty of that, in the family of that, to use.
Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. This is Cowboys Nation Report, your go-to place for everything silver and blue. And today we're talking about the spark, the moment, the why we believe again. Because yes, the road has been rocky. The record is 3-5-1 through 9 games. The bye week came at just the right moment to reset, to reflect, to refocus. But what I'm here to tell you today is this. The Dallas Cowboys are not just waiting for a turnaround, they're beginning it. And one of the major reasons lies in a rookie rising star, Donovan Eziraku. Let's set the scene. The Dallas Cowboys hit their bye week right at the season's midpoint. Through 9 games, they've dealt with struggles, inconsistencies, and a defense that hasn't yet found its rhythm. But that's exactly why the next half of the season matters. It's not just about hope. It's about preparation, adjustments, and momentum. According to many analysts, including Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report, Donovan Eziraku is being named the breakout candidate for the second half of 2025. Why does this matter? Because Eziraku isn't just a young player. They're a young player with production and promise. He's been making waves, 2 sacks and 10 quarterback pressures already. Over his last 3 games, he's had multiple quarterback hits and tackles for loss. And here's the key. The Cowboys traded for Quinnen Williams at the deadline, a dominant interior disruptor who commands double teams, which opens up one-on-one opportunities for players like Eziraku to shine. So think about the implications. Eziraku has been generating pressure. He's showing flashes. Williams draws blockers. That means Eziraku gets more freedom, more rush lanes, more chances at sacks, more game-changing plays. And when a rookie steps in and starts delivering, it changes the tone. It changes perception. It gives the defense hope. Let me tell you, this is how you build momentum. The offense for Dallas has peaked and dipped, yes, but the offense remains dangerous. What's been missing is consistent defensive play. When the defense gives you enough stops, the offense doesn't have to shoot bullets every possession. When the defense improves, the offense breathes, and that rhythm creates wins. Now, Cowboys Nation, imagine this. Eziraku explodes in Week 11, Week 12, making a name for himself. Williams inside occupies 2 blockers. The Cowboys' edge rushers feast. The secondary gets extra help because pressure is coming. The Cowboys' defense, long criticized, begins to look like a weapon, not a weakness. You get into the mental side. The opponent knows that when the Dallas gets the ball, the defense is lurking. That changes drives. That changes game plans. That changes seasons. And here's the truth. Breakout players matter. They inject energy. They reset attitudes. They change locker rooms. They make teammates believe. And when the Cowboys have a rookie like Eziraku rising, when they have Williams anchoring the inside, when they have returns and reinforcements in other areas, they are building a defense that can support a championship caliber team. No, this isn't a guarantee of a Super Bowl. We're not saying glass half full just yet. But this is a turning point. This is the moment where you stop asking can they and start asking will they. The schedule ahead is tough, but the combination of breakout talent, strategic moves, and veteran presence means the Cowboys have the opportunity. They have the pieces. They have the stage. They have you behind them. So here's what I want from you. Stay locked, stay loud, stay proud. When the Cowboys take the field next, believe in the next wave. Believe in Donovan Eziraku. Believe in Quinnen Williams. Believe in the star. And believe in the comeback. Because when the youth meet the experience, when the strategy meets the athleticism, when the belief meets the talent, the Dallas Cowboys don't just survive, they rise. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Donovan Eziraku will break out in the second half of the season for the Cowboys? What stat do you want to see improve most for the defense? Drop it in the comments below. If you're behind the star, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report for our weekly breakdowns, reactions, and deep dives. We ride together, we believe together, and we win together. Go Cowboys!